Hello, people. My name is Dion, and you are listening and viewing the Sun and the Sun podcast. Now, on this platform, we will be discussing humanities. That's pretty much the human experience, pretty broad, but we will focus on history and religion, at least for now. But before I get started, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support is appreciated. Now, why history and religion? These can be some of the most divisive subjects that people deal with. They probably are. Um, you know, everybody wants to paint a history that looks best for them. Nobody wants to deal with the bad stuff. History is always glory, how great I was, how great my people were, and everybody wants to be presented as the best there ever was, or they want to show how bad somebody else was. But I love some history. Always have, always will. Now, as far as religion is concerned, um, it's been a part of my life for as far back as I can remember. I mean, I remember being a 5-year-old child, 6-year-old child, sitting in front of the TV watching Jesus of Nazareth, and I was intrigued from day one, especially when you have an adult telling you that this stuff really happened. This is true. So I'm watching somebody who's doing what's the equivalent to magic on TV, and my adult supervision, my caretakers, my parents, my grandparents are saying this person is real. How can you not be intrigued by that? So I know it can be a tough conversation, but hey, and we have our feelings and our beliefs, but on this platform, we're going to stick to facts and truth. Now, today, the topic's about Capricorn, but I want to talk about zodiacs in general. And when it comes to most people, we're focused on personalities. Um, there are people who are serious, very serious about zodiac signs. I mean, they live by them. And then you have, I think, most people who kind of play with it. Um, they kind of use it as for fun or whatever, social reasons or whatever. But I also know people who will not associate or say they will find out when a guy or girl was born and be like, okay, this person is a Capricorn, this person is a Leo or a Gemini, and I will not date them. And they will not give them a time of day. That's how serious some people are about zodiac signs. And I've always, up until recently, I've always been a big skeptic of zodiac signs. Because to me, it just didn't make any sense. How can you have, say, 20 kids, 20 babies born in a hospital, and you telling me that all these babies gonna have similar personalities? They all gonna think alike and have similar mindset to everything. So it just wasn't rational to me. But I have to admit that I recently took a test. I think they call it a natal chart or prenatal natal chart. Um, and basically, it wants to know where you were born and what time you were born. And from that, it pretty much tells you who you are, how you think. And I have to admit that it was pretty accurate for me. And at first I was like, okay, it maybe it looked up and got me right for the most part. Uh, but let me test my cousin who was there at the time, and it got him spot on too. So I am open minded to personalities and zodiac signs now. I'm not gonna shoot anymore. But today we're talking about the mythology behind these zodiac signs, not the personalities, the mythology, and how it relates to religion, specifically Jesus. Now, here we are. What is the mythology of Capricorn? Capricorn surrounds the birth of Zeus. And I'm going to explain to you how that birth of Zeus was remixed to create the birth of Jesus. Stay with me. Now, when it comes to the mythology, Greek mythology of Zeus, there was a king of the Titans by the name of Kronos, sometimes spelled with a C, sometimes spelled with a K. It was foretold to Kronos that a king would be born to dethrone him. Of course, he feels threatened and has to do something to stop this from happening. To stop this, he decided that once each of his children were born, that he would consume the child to prevent this takeover of his throne. So, when his first four children were born, he swallowed them. They were imprisoned in his stomach. Strange, I know. Um, but with the fifth child, Zeus, when he was born, mother said, "No, not this time. I want this baby." So she takes a rock, she wraps it in a blanket, and gives it to Kronos. Kronos swallows this rock, believing that it is Zeus. Now, the mother of Zeus takes Zeus and flees with him to a land called Crete, where he is hidden until it's safe for him to come out. Now, let's go to the remix story of Jesus. There was a king who was foretold of a birth of a king. He felt threatened. He decided he's going to dispose of these children or this birth by going to the foretold land where this child will be born and killing all the kids 5 and under. Also crazy, but in a different way. Mary, the mother of Jesus, gets wind of this and she runs off to a land called Egypt or Kemet, for some who may know the original name of Egypt. And he's hidden there until it's safe for him to come out. So here you have it. You have two kings, Kronos and Herod. Both are foretold of the birth of a king. They both feel threatened. They both decide to dispose of the children, one by consumption, one by the sword. The mothers of these children run off to a faraway land. One goes to Crete, one goes to Egypt. The kids are hidden there until it's safe for them to come out. A coincidence? I think not. And one other thing that's pretty interesting about these two children, Zeus and Jesus. Now, they are both the fifth child born. They both have four older siblings when they're born. In the case of Zeus, he has Herod, Hestia, Hades, and Poseidon. And then when you have Jesus, you have John, Judas, Joseph, and Simon. Notice that in both cases, three of the four siblings have the same first letter in their name. When it came to Zeus, they have H, and when it came to come to Jesus, they have J. Another coincidence? I think not. Jesus is nothing more than a remix of Zeus when it comes to his birth. Okay, I want to give some clarity to the birth of Jesus. Now, we widely, or people widely, celebrate his birth on December 25th. But there are two accounts of his birth. You have Matthew and you have Luke's account. Okay? Now, today, we are mainly discussing Matthew's account. Um, but Matthew is a astrological and mythological story of Jesus. Here's why. Now, the story about the three wise men coming to visit Jesus, this has to do with Orion's belt. And if you look at Orion's belt, there are three very visible stars in December. And these three stars are called what? The three kings. This is why you often hear the three magi or three wise men called the three kings. Now, December 25th. December 25th is the birth date of many sun deities. And here's why. It's the figurative birth of our star, the sun. You're free to go Google. Google what happens to the sun on December 25th. And you'll find that the sun moves 1 degree north, indicating the start of longer days. It's the sun's birth. But on December 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, from our vantage point, the sun appears to be still, as if it's not moving. It's the sun's death, 3-day death. Sound familiar? Yes, this is the cause, or this is the inspiration for Jesus's 3-day death. This is why he's buried for 3 days, because the sun is dead for 3 days, meaning not moving for 3 days. Then on December 25th, you have his resurrection or his birth. They're actually both one and the same. Now, if we just focus on Matthew, you would probably have a lot less argument about people accepting December 25th as his birthday. But when we go to the Luke account, things look a little different. The issue comes in when you hear about shepherds and animals grazing. Because in this case, you couldn't possibly have those things happening in December because the land is pretty much barren. There's nothing to graze. There's no shepherds at this point in time. But I have a pretty good thought that this has more to do with the surroundings of Zeus's birth, because Zeus was being suckled by a nymph or she goat. So this is why you have so much confusion about the December 25th birthday of Jesus. He is the personification of our sun. And at this point in time, sun is in Capricorn. So you have the influence of Zeus. So, what do my detractors, aka critics, say about my presentation? I've had an opportunity to present this information to several people, and my responses vary. Some people just refuse to hear anything. They either are in so much fear that they believe they can't question anything they believe, or some people just simply don't want to know. They want to stay in their bubble and keep it there. Others try to find a way to rationalize the information that they get with responses like, well, it's just a coincidence. That yes, there are some similarities between the Zeus story and Jesus story, but um, there's also differences. The problem with this is that these coincidences take place with every zodiac sign over and over and over and over again. So the truth is that theory is out the window. And then you have people who say that um, Jesus influenced Greek mythology. It wasn't the other way around. But the problem with this is that Greek mythology predates Christianity, especially any information about Jesus. So that theory is gone. Then we have this one that it was simply the devil. The devil is playing a trick on us. That the devil had pre knowledge, or he had knowledge that Jesus would be born. He used this knowledge because he knew the details, and he went to these other societies like Rome and Greece and Kemet, and he planted these mythological stories so that today we would all be deceived by these stories that sounded like they were the influence of the Jesus birth and life. But I say, use your rational minds and common sense that was given to you and let them speak for you. So, what is the simple truth? The truth is that people learn from their predecessors in almost every phase of life. Whether you're within a family unit, you learn from your parents, they learn from their parents, they learn from their great grandparents. And when you're talking about societies or nations that have come and gone who have failed, the Romans learned from the Greeks, then the Greeks learned from the people of Kemet or Egypt. People take information that they've received or learned from others and they make it their own. And this is what happened to the Bible and the Jesus story. Think about it. People have pretty much accepted the fact that holidays like Christmas have pagan roots. Now, I know, according to the Bible, they shouldn't even be celebrating these holidays because they're pagan, right? Um, but people rationalize it. They say, you know what? We celebrate it for a different reason today, so we can keep our traditions. But think about it. The same people who were managing your holidays or decided that they would take these so-called pagan traditions and create the Christian holidays are the same people who had dominion over your Bible. Think rationally. Do you think that these people said, okay, we're going to use this pagan holiday about Saturn or Esther, the goddess of fertility, for Easter and for Christmas. But when it comes to the Bible, we're not going to touch that. We're not messing with the Bible. It's sacred. No, they use the same influences of that society and incorporated it into the one religion that they could use to control all. Well, people, I appreciate your time and attention, and I welcome correction, criticism, and dialogue and knowledge. If you have any information that you can share with me, I would love to hear it. I love learning, and I am definitely not one to think that I know it all, but I do take common sense and rational thought and apply it to my understanding of things. It's okay to believe, but once you find facts that counter that belief, the facts take over. Now, stay tuned for Aquarius. Until next time, this is the Sun and the Sun.